Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Jaeger Bishop here, and I just wanted to make this short little video here. Now, this is going to be about. This is going to have a discussion of the Last Jedi. A lot of negative things pointed out about it, some positives, but it's more about the industry as a whole these days and their reaction to criticism. And certain crowds who like to defend said like to just defend. Alright. Like to defend these things. Like they're gifts from on high, and we should just praise them. Now, okay. Actually, I'm just going to give her the axe of Whiterun, because, yeah, here, just take this fucking thing. Anyway, so Last Jedi is visually very appealing. Very well shot, very well, you know. And to its credit, it's not lens flare the movie. And there are some new interesting elements, like this new space B-17 Flying Fortress bomber, which is pretty awesome. It has the ball turrets and everything. I liked it. And, you know, the fact that actually all of them were pretty much almost all of them were lost in their bombing raid was actually a pretty good nod to how during World War II the 8th Air Force actually lost quite a few bombers before the advent of the P-51 Mustang, anyway. And even then, casualties were still... Ugh. There's a good reason why there were so many, like, rituals and good luck. What the fuck? Okay. There were, like, good luck rituals and all that other sort of stuff. Like, just anything they thought would get them back alive. But, yeah. Anyway, so, Last Jedi. I'm trying to stay on topic here. Also, the sound effects, decent. I'd say everything sells a punch to it. Solid sound design. I would expect nothing less with especially the technology we have these days, and the budget Disney has to play around with. Okay, so yeah, a couple of good things. Job well done on those. So, if you stuck around to this point and heard all the positive things you want me to extol upon this movie, and don't want to hear any of the negatives, then feel free to click the little X button right now, or another video somewhere. But, if you're interested in hearing my critique, well, then feel free to stick around. Okay? Well, if you're still here, I assume you want to hear the rest of this. So, my critiques. Let's start with, first of all, there being a couple of characters in the movie that were added that I believe could be ejected out of the airlock and no one would miss them. That being Admiral Purple Hair and Rose. That is pretty much my critique of those two, because they bring absolutely nothing of value at all whatsoever to the plot, and can be fucking vaporized for all I care. And no, it's not because they're women, it's because they're shit characters. They're fillers, they're extras. Way to pad out the runtime. They're also both morons. Anyway. Okay, so let's go with the obvious, some of the obvious criticisms. Leia. Now, how they could have killed her off. She dies in combat. Okay, like gets spaced with Admiral Akbar. Okay, fine. That would have been fine, but then her fingers twitch and then somehow she Supermans her way back into the... What? I mean, yeah, there was that one guy back in the Clone Wars, Plo Koon, who survived out in the vacuum of space for a few minutes, but that's because he had a rebreather mask. And his species was naturally resilient. And holy shit, you guys are just attacking me. But in any case, so somehow she gets spaced violently, and besides the fact, of course, that there's no goddamn way she could have lived through that. Because, A, you're not just dealing with the vacuum of space, which alone should have killed her. You're also dealing with the concussion of the blast, the damn debris from the explosion. I mean, there's just all this stuff that should have killed her. And just doesn't for some unknown reason. Oh, because of the Force. I'm gonna put this bluntly as I can. I gave The Force Awakens shit for trying to explain away how Rey was able to fly the Millennium Falcon that she had never piloted before, and unlike Luke, had no prior experience even in a frickin' crop duster of a T-16. I gave the last movie shit for using the Force as basically plot device as to why a character is overpowered and can just do everything. And I'll be damned if I stop here. Especially with this shit. So somehow she Supermans her way back into the airlock. And, Admiral Akbar is just, dead. Granted, he was pretty much dead from the last movie onward anyway. And then, of course, so she's just put in the hospital for most of the movie. Now, and of course, she wakes up in the absolute stupidest way possible. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that. So, basically, the First Order actually now have a way to track, or, well, did have a way to track the Resistance fleet's ships through hyperspace. Honestly, I thought that was always a thing, because you have several instances where it's like you can somehow get somebody's flight coordinates, hyperspace coordinates, off of their ships and track them that way. I'm a little fuzzy on that, but okay, now they have this MacGuffin. Whatever. Fine. So Poe figures this out. Like they figure this out. It's like, okay, well, his plan is to destroy he wants to shut that down. Actually, no, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. There's this mega star destroyer that's purpose-built for bombarding planets from orbit. So his logic is, well, we should try and take this thing out, because this thing can actually just annihilate our ships from long range, beyond the effective range of any of our weapons. And it's so he leads the attack, and like I said, the space B-17s go in with them. Most of them get shot down, but one makes it and just drops all of its bombs on a weak spot. That's a running theme, that a lot of these super weapons have weak spots on them. Don't know why they wouldn't just fix that, but in any case, and they destroy this thing. Now, this is where Snoke's flagship comes in, the Supremacy. Now, I kind of like the design of the Supremacy because of the fact that it's basically like the flying wing, sort of like the idea of the Horton 229, or I suppose it's larger cousin, the Horton 18. Of course, the Horton 18 was never actually built, but you get the idea. So, the Space Horton 18, which is Snoke's flagship, it has lots of firepower, but it's extremely slow. And you know what? It makes sense for something that big. I mean, it's basically a space station. It hauls lots of materials, everything to repair, build and repair Star Destroyers, stuff like that. Why they didn't just go with the fucking Star Forge, I don't know, but whatever. I mean, that still doesn't explain how they managed to get... That's the thing, it's sort of explained off to the side of how they got the finances and some of the weapons, but the materials you would need to build something that massive is insane. Where would you get that? You'd also need some serious mining equipment and everything to get at it, too. Ugh. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. Aboard Snoke's flagship, the Supremacy, there's this device that can track the Resistance fleet through hyperspace. Now, with Leia out of commission and Poe being pretty high up anyway, his thinking is, well, since Admiral Purplehair wasn't actually giving any orders. May I point out, by the way, that for some damn reason, Admiral Purplehair is wearing a damn dress while everybody else is in, like, regulars, like a uniform and all that. Can I just point that out? It's one of those sticks out like a sore thumb sort of deals. Anyway, since he goes to Admiral Purplehair and asks, okay, well, what's the plan? What are my orders? And she just brushes him off. She doesn't tell him shit. And the reason for this, as it turns out, was bullshit anyway. Because, here's the thing. Poe is a very trusted and respected individual within the Resistance. I mean, he's high-ranking for a good reason. And people follow him. And this is proof by the fact that he leads a coup against this useless Admiral Purplehair. Successfully leads a coup and tries to implement his plan of getting aboard the Star Destroyer, getting aboard the Supremacy and somehow destroying this device that can track them through hyperspace. Okay. Of course, then Leia wakes up at the exact moment she needs to fuck everything up. And just, tases him, stuns him, knocks him unconscious. And then, of course, it turns out Admiral Purplehair's idea to load the transports to get off their main ship onto the planet with a secret rebel base. I'm just going to call them rebels from here on out because that's pretty much what it is. It's rebels versus Empire all the damn over again. That's all it is. It's nothing else. So, okay, I'm I'm gonna have a bit of trouble dealing with this guy, but whatever. Okay, he's dead. And I've almost leveled up again. Groovy. So, her idea of loading up these transports and everything is foiled because a character who turns out to be a traitor, like that was actually a really surprise, gets foiled because the First Order does catch on to this and just starts blowing all the transports to bits. So hey, Poe was right. Well, because of course he is. Or I should say he was. Throughout this whole freaking movie, despite Leia chastising him needlessly. Given the resources he had and the problems he was handed to deal with, he did remarkably well. So, yeah. And then, so, Admiral Purplehair decides, in an act of, I was supposed to redeem her, I guess, even though, at that point I was like, good, fuck off and die, be useful, at least as a kamikaze weapon. So, yeah, that... And let's just talk about Snoke for a minute here. Snoke is built up as this super evil, super powerful... Like, he throws Rey and Kylo across the room and stuff like that like nothing. Especially manipulating Rey's lightsaber like it's nothing. Despite the fact that she's trying to use the Force on it too. And of course, Snoke orders Kylo to kill Rey, and somehow, despite all his power, despite all his almost omnipresence, despite him being built up to this super badass that's possibly even more powerful than the freaking Emperor. Nope, killed by a simple Force trick with the lightsaber. Killed by Kylo Ren. Are you fucking kidding me? What? So let me get this straight. You build this guy up to be super powerful and omnipotent, and you just hit him with the biggest Nerf bat, basically. Just, what? Oh my god. Oh. I mean, at least the Emperor's death made sense. You know, like, he was this arrogant bastard who, and he even admitted it, that he was an arrogant bastard, basically. And he got thrown down a shaft into the fucking reactor core. And that's how he died. Okay, that made sense. And it was by Vader's hand. But yeah, so there's that. And why? Just what the fuck? I mean, I thought J.J. Abrams was bad at this, but this Johnson guy, he really screwed the pooch. He really did. So, what else was I going to talk about this? Oh, yeah. Luke. When Rey finds Luke, he goes on the lightsaber, he basically just chucks it and tells her to leave him alone. He came to that planet to die, and just gave up. What? The guy had his hand chopped off. Okay. Let me put it like this. This is a guy who, in the first movie, lost his aunt and uncle, lost his mentor, and yet still went on to destroy the first Death Star by trusting in the Force on the advice, of course, of Obi-Wan Kenobi. Okay. Then, of course, in The Empire Strikes Back, he loses a lot of his friends in The Empire Strikes Back because the Empire kicks the crap out of the rebels on Hoth. Piss off. And of course, he loses his hand and finds out Darth Vader, well, is his father. But, yeah. So yeah, he gets a real world of shit beat into him. And of course was trained by Yoda. Now, it doesn't look like that much time has elapsed, but actually in the novel, it actually was that it was actually several months that had passed between Yoda accepting him and training him, all the way up to where he was. So he goes through all of that, sees one of his best friends get captured, or, well, he knows one of his best friends is captured. then by the third movie, he is determined, no matter what, determined to bring his father back to the light side. And he goes through a lot of pain to do this. And I do mean a lot. I mean, he literally almost gets killed by the Emperor for this. And in that moment of truth, Anakin broke free and saved Luke. But in truth, of course, it was actually Luke who saved Anakin. I mean, this is a guy that when the chips are down, he's the one guy you can call. And what do? They turn him into this freaking hermit who's just given up on everything. Oh, and oh, and you know that scene where he could have killed Vader very easily? When he gave into his rage? When he actually snapped and started hammering away at Vader? And didn't? Because he held to his convictions? And wouldn't let the Emperor win? Yeah, this is the same guy now that was actually going to kill a baby. More specifically, Kylo Ren when he was younger. Because a vision that he saw, a little hint of a vision that he saw, and gave up because somehow Snoke got to him first. So let me guess, this guy that usually has indomitable will and dauntless courage who is slow to anger and rich in mercy, gives into fear and just quits everything. Are you fucking serious? How? How do you do, how do you fucking do this? And then, of course, the way he's actually killed off later in the movie is just asinine. Just, I have no words. I have no words for it. I mean, what do you say to that? What do you say? Aside from, I suppose, as Angry Joe would say, you done fucked it up. So yeah, there's that. Just, it's one big mess, it really is. And by the end of it, too, the Resistance is down to basically a crew that can fit onto the damn Millennium Falcon. That's it, that's the whole Resistance. I mean, I could go into mentioning the Rose and Finn subplot, but why bother? It's fucking laughable. I mean, I thought I hated Rey as a character. Nope. Nope. Rose is way worse. Way more fucking pointless. Oh, and don't even get me started with the political messages that they shoved down your throat in this thing. Oh, we must save the animals, and the gamers, and they're rich and corruption and all that other shit. So, yeah. All style, no substance. That's what this movie boils down to. But you know what? Insult to injury it is? That people are just defending this shit. Oh, it's all awesome. 10 out of 10. Even the few problems they are willing to acknowledge, they just brush them off. I just really want I don't know what it is with people. I mean, we criticize movies like Transformers for the same shit. Of being style over substance. But no, it's your fault that you don't like our turd sandwich. It's your fault for not liking the movie. Oh, well, you don't like the movie. Oh, well, you just, hate women or some other shit like that. Or any other deranged excuse that you can think of to just deflect any criticism or just ignore the possibility that there's any validity to the claims. Despite the fact that there were, rumors abound that there was actually apparently there was this troll who was helping to bomb the ratings. But of course, when the rumors were abound that there was a similar type of person helping drive the ratings up, well, of course, that doesn't get talked about. You know what? This is a problem in the games and the industry in general, entertainment industry in general, not just movies, but gaming as well. Hell, music, if you can really call it music these days. I mean, there's a few bands that are good, but just I mean, it was the same reaction to the freaking EA loot box scandal, where there was these experts, and I use experts in quotations, saying, "Oh well, gamers are just entitled; they're just overreacting, that sort of thing." Oh, this will blow over. It's not a real big problem. Oh, we're still committed to doing this, even though it kicked up such a shitstorm that the government got involved. Or is trying to, anyway. I mean, and of course, organizations like the ESRB trying to actually defend this shit. Yeah, so much for consumer first. I just... And then there are the fanboys. The fanboys are the fucking worst. They are the worst. Why? Because they'll defend this shit till the cows come home, regardless of how bad it is. And it was the same, and it's been the same for a lot of actual shit franchises, actually, that the fanboys, they'll just defend this shit to the death, like console, anything. Consoles, bad video games, bad video game practices, bad music, bad movies, bad anything. For some stupid reason, they will just shove this in. That, I mean, not shove this in. What am I talking about? They will defend this stuff to the death, and it's just you just want to backhand. Part of me wants to backhand every last one of them, but I get it. Some people, they enjoy it. They have their problems with it, but they enjoy it. And you know what? Those are the normal people. But the people that just defend this thing and say, oh, it's the best thing since sliced bread, well, I have to honestly ask, what are you on, and why are you not sharing? What have you been smoking, and why are you not sharing? But hey. I suppose to sum up this whole thing, in the words of Mark Hamill himself, remember kids, it doesn't matter if it's high quality, just that it makes money. I have been Jaeger Bishop. I think I just died a little inside, and feel free to like or downvote, I don't give a damn. Subscribe, all that good stuff. Leave a comment if you're so inclined. What did you think of the movie? I'm not going to be like super I guess unless you are one of the ravenous fanboys, but whatever. I'm just telling them like it is, man. That's all I got to say. Oh yeah, donations in the PayPal link in the description below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.